Hey everybody, Amanda here, founder and lead instructor at the Lightworkers Academy, and I'm going to take you through a little walkthrough of the game room. So I'm already logged in as a student. I'm brought to my dashboard as my landing page. Let's go ahead and access the virtual campus. All right, so we're in the virtual campus. You can see here from our table of contents, we have these different areas of the virtual campus that we can navigate to. Today we're going to go into the game room. So as you can see, that link shoots me right down the page here to where I can access the description for the game room, and here's the button to access the game room itself. Once we're in the game room, you'll see that we can navigate to the different sections of the game room using our table of contents. So the game room is where you're going to go once you've gone through the study hall, and we're not going to go through the study hall today, but once you've gone through the study hall, you've accessed the resources, the video study guides, the infographics, tip sheets, tool sheets, worksheets, all of the things that are available to you to help you gain an understanding of coaching concepts. Then you can test your understanding and knowledge of those concepts by coming into the game room and trying out some of these quizzes here. So the quizzes are organized by coaching tenant or coaching concept. And let's say that we want to test our understanding of the coaching tenant, build rapport, develop trust. Go ahead and click on that link. And of course, it brings me right down here to the coaching tenant, build rapport, develop trust, and all the quizzes that are available that will test my understanding of that concept. So we have these two quizzes here, responding with empathy, and this builds trust, breaks trust quiz. So let's go ahead and open up the responding with empathy quiz. All right, so that brings me to my course page. And here my course page is going to give me a description of the quiz. And to access the quiz, we're going to come over here to the Materials tab. As you can see, I already started this quiz. I'm going to go ahead and restart it so you can see it from the beginning. All right, now I'm not going to take you through all 10 questions of the quiz. There are 10 questions in this quiz. We're only going to do the first 2, and I want this to be interactive, so I want you to kind of follow along with me and then enter in your responses as we go. So here we go. Before we actually access the quiz, for those of you who learn best, a little music playing in the background or a little sound in the background, I do have some music available in all the quizzes. You can access that music here in the upper right hand corner. So if you just play, click play, and then click it again, it stops it. So click the same button to play, play and pause, same button. All right, some people like a little music in the background. I'm one of those kind of learners. Some people don't, so there's an option for you. So let's go ahead and begin this quiz. We get some directions here. It lets us know that in the pages that follow, we're going to be presented with 10 client statements, and we're going to select the coaching response that best expresses empathy. And after we make our selection, we'll hit the submit button. Let's get going. I'm ready. You ready? Let's get going. So for our first question, our client says, I have a million things to do. I'll never have time to get everything done. All right, so what are our coaching options here, our response options? All right, coach response number 1, I'm so sorry to hear that. Coach response number 2, I know how overwhelming it can feel to juggle many tasks and responsibilities. And coaching tenant number 3, I understand that you're overwhelmed, or excuse me, not coaching tenant, coaching response. I feel like I said tenant. Coaching response number 3, I understand that you're overwhelmed. However, people make time for things that are important to them. All right, now remember our objective here is to select the coaching response that best expresses empathy. So which of these 3 best expresses empathy? Go ahead and make your selection. Right, if you chose option B, you are correct. So here is the best coaching response that expresses empathy. Let's talk about why. So for this first coaching response, we're going to go over the ones that are incorrect and why they're incorrect. So for this first coaching response, the coach says, I'm so sorry to hear that. So this coaching response is not expressing empathy. This coaching response expresses sympathy. So when you tell somebody, I'm so sorry to hear that, what you're doing is you're expressing sympathy. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But as first of all, the objective is to express empathy, not sympathy. So that's the first thing. But also, It's not a bad thing to say that. Well, I'm so sorry. However, in a coaching role, it's not necessarily helpful, right? It's not the best, most effective coaching response. It can come off as trite or not necessarily insincere, but it's kind of shallow. It doesn't express empathy. It conveys sympathy. Okay. Now let's look at this third one. I understand that you're overwhelmed. However, people make time for things that are important to them. So let's look at the first part of this response. I understand that you're overwhelmed. That's a good thing to say. I understand that you're overwhelmed. That expresses empathy, because expressing empathy means that you are able to put yourself in that person's shoes, experience what they're experiencing at a visceral level as if you're experiencing it yourself. So what you're saying here when you say, I understand, you're saying, I've been there. I know how you're feeling. I get it. And that expresses empathy. You also say here, I understand that you're overwhelmed. Now, the individual didn't use the word overwhelmed, but we can tell based on what she said, the language that she's using, this is conveying a sense of overwhelmment. And so when we say, I understand that you're feeling overwhelmed, we're conveying active listening, because we are paraphrasing what she's saying, and we are showing her that we get where she's coming from. Not only do we understand the feeling, but we can name it. All right, and that's good, because that's going to help the client feel seen and heard and understood. Where we go wrong is the second part of this response, where the coach then says, however, then negating everything that they said here. However, people make time for things that are important to them. Now, the second part of this response conveys judgment. Here you're kind of implying that, well, if it were important to you, you'd make time for it. If you wanted to, you would, right? It implies that the client is not prioritizing things correctly, that she's somehow at fault for these things. It might be true, it might not be true, but the point is that to respond in that way is to convey a judgment, and that is not going to go a very long way in helping your client to feel understood and trust you with sharing these kinds of feelings with you, which are very difficult, right? Because a lot of people share these kinds of feelings. It's very easy to be overwhelmed, especially in this day and age. So, a little bit more compassion is definitely needed, a little bit more empathy. In the first part of it, we're doing good. That second part of it kind of throws it all off when we add that element of slight judgment and assumptions. All right. So here, the second response, here's why this response works so well. When you say, I know how overwhelming it can feel to juggle many tasks and responsibilities, here you're showing empathy, because you say, I know how overwhelming it can feel. So again, you're saying that I know how it is, I get it, I feel you, I understand. Those are sentiments that convey empathy. And then again, you're also naming her feeling. She's saying that she's got a million things to do, she's never going to get everything done. That's a sense of overwhelm. That's a sense of helplessness. And so you can name those things. I know how you're feeling overwhelmed, just like this response, right? But unlike this response, we stop here and we don't convey judgment. We just say, I get how you're feeling. I know what that's like. I too have had to juggle many tasks and responsibilities. Full stop. And then that's it. We don't add in that extra element, but you could make time for it if you wanted to. We don't. We're just saying, I get it. And that best expresses empathy, and that's all we need, right? So this is going to be the best coaching response to help the individual feel heard, not judged, seen, felt, understood, all that good stuff. And of course, that goes a long way in building trust between you and building that rapport over time. How did you do? Did you get that right? Let's give you another chance. If you didn't get it right, we're going to do one more. So let's make sure we get our response in, and we can tell that we've selected the response because she's going to glow. So we're going to hit submit to submit our response, and we get our feedback letting us know that we selected the correct response. Yay us. Right? So let me know if that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, there is a lot of nuance to this, right? And this is why when you are doing any kind of self-paced coaching program, you also want to make sure that you are getting that in-person element with an instructor, or that face-to-face live element with an instructor. And that's why we have our classes, that you're assigned homework like this that you do self-paced, but where you have questions and where there is that nuance, we can discuss them in class and we can really have that much richer discussion and see the kind of impact of our coaching responses, and talk about it and practice, right? Because it's really hard to test these kinds of concepts in a completely self-paced way, especially when we're talking about getting the nuance out of it. So let me know what you think. We're going to continue to go through these kinds of videos, give you a chance to kind of test your own knowledge and understanding of these different coaching skills. Let me know how you did in this particular video. If you have any other questions, please do let me know in the comments, or you can reach out to us in a private message. If you're interested in becoming a student, private message us. We'll jump on a chat just to see what your learning needs are, your learning objectives are, and see if it's a good fit. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.